dog man. Somehow they jump over the border, do a little Wisconsin, but we know that. But then they get back to what Canadian and Southern werewolves are all about. The rules.
Legend had it that to turn into a werewolf, all a man needed to do, aside from skipping his religious studies, was to drink from the same river as a wolf, be bitten by a mad wolf, or simply eat wolfsbane. It was also said that one way to kill these practically immortal monsters was to shoot them with a silver bullet made from a sacred object.
Hey, you can't even drink from the same. You can't even drink from the same water that a wolf might have drinking out of.
That's ridiculous. Wolves will drink any water they find. We don't know that.
Yeah, and what is wolfsbane? Like eating wolfsbane?
Wolfsbane is an herb or something.
It's a herb, right?
It's a plant.
And what, just because it has the word wolf in it? Like if you eat that, you'll turn into one of them? How did that happen?
And that doesn't make sense because it's called wolf's bane, which means that it would repel the wolves, not turn you into one.
I'm sorry.
They have the real doctrine going. Don't take communion for 7 years. Don't drink wolf water. Don't eat wolf's bane. And please, whatever you please do not get bitten by a wolf. That is
and
the
don't have
easiest
sex
one.
with the wolf either, because I'm sure they're going to put that in the rules at some point.
Yeah, of course. But what they depict here is really funny, and you see it coming because this guy that they're showing, he's drinking from water while they're talking about this, and he has a flannel shirt on, a plaid one. What does that mean?
Yeah. That means that he's into grunge.
Yeah.
Lumberjack?
I'm calling it out. Enough with the werewolf with the plaid shirt. The plaid, it's the most werewolf thing ever.
Clearly,
Not every
those
guy.
are the people who don't go and take their communion, are heathens who listen to grunge and are from Seattle, and they're all going to turn into werewolves.
No.
Well, plaid shirts are cheap. You can get them for cheap, so like
I love them.
when you like werewolf out, you can destroy it, and you just go get another plaid shirt. You can get them,
and you look
get
like
them
a
at
badass
TJ
doing
Maxx
it.
for like $10.
You should get them wholesale. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hold on. I got nothing against plaid shirts. I'm wearing one right now, but I'm not the Wolfman. But that would be the most Wolfman thing. Maybe I should take it off.
Maybe
it
you.
is the most
maybe
Wolfman thing.
That sounds like
it is a
Russ, when's
stereotype.
the last time you went to communion?
I do.
It is.
It is a stereotype.
Every
I do
Wolfman
give you
you've seen. It is a dude in a plaid shirt, and I'm even guilty. I was a Wolfman one year. I was like, oh wait, I need to get a plaid shirt and rip it up. And now I think back, I'm like, why? Well, I'm not. This isn't even my shirt. Why is every Wolfman in plaid?
Wolfman.
I never noticed that until now.
He likes to be seasonal. He's got to have a plaid shirt that matches the season. Generally,
I
the
wear
red
plaid all year round.
Hawaiian Wolfman.
So there's a Wolfman season now. Or besides, I guess Halloween. All right, my bad.
All right. But enough of that. Let's get back to the rules. And the rules, of course, stem from religion, as they state in this clip.
In Quebec, the werewolf is a Catholic one, through and
He said
through.
Rougarou.
And then, bit by bit, because of the changing structure of religion, we started talking about it a little less. But we're dealing with an archetype here, a deep-seated archetype, our fear of sliding into a feral state, of being devoured by our animal nature, by the wolf. This whole thing comes to us from France, where the wolf terrorized the land. François Villon even mentioned it. He wrote about wolves entering Paris during times of famine. So we're talking about fear of the wolf and fear of becoming a wolf.
That's a really concise look at the psychology that led to thinking of werewolves and stuff. Just in that little bit right there. That guy knows his stuff.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting, you know how the whole thing about killing a werewolf with a silver bullet, I didn't realize that there was an addendum to it, that it had to be from a sacred object. That's silver.
Sacred item.
Interesting.
Yeah, that shit from Monster Squad when he's stealing his mom's silverware, that wouldn't killed him, all right?
Unless they were like blessed spoons.
It wouldn't matter how hard you kicked him in the nards. It wouldn't matter that those fork bullets wouldn't have worked. I'm calling it now. Even if you stick a grenade down his pants and throw him out of the window. But we're going to stop it here.
Acme Dynamite
We're going to stop it. We're going to stop it here for Rougarou. No, it's a Monster Squad. Did you guys have any idea that the Were-Loop-Garoop it was a Canadian thing also?
I had no idea.
This is brand new to me. I had no freaking idea, but you know what? So far, this makes sense.
Yeah, it seems to all, like I said, stem from France and the fear of wolves. Well, we don't know. Let's spin the wheel of Northern Mysteries again. Ooh. UFO contact and Stephen Michalak. who came across a landed UFO on a prospecting trip to Falcon Lake, Manitoba. This is a Canadian UFO contact. You excited?
Fuck yeah.
Yes. But it was landed?
This is a landed UFO, and we're going to hear...
Wouldn't that make it like a ULO?
Uh-huh. It's no longer flying. Good call,
It's not
Rob.
flying, right?
Yeah, you're getting ahead of yourself. You're acting like one isn't flying and one landed at the same time. Let's hear... Calm down.
It's just a
Let's hear
UO.
about this- No, we're going to hear about this Canadian close encounter now.
At around 5:30 a.m. on May 20th, 1967, Stefan Michalak was getting ready to leave his motel just off the Trans-Canada Highway in the woody area of White Shell Provincial Park, Manitoba. Although he worked as a mechanic for a Winnipeg-based company, his real passion was prospecting. On this glorious Saturday morning, he was planning to hike up to Falcon Lake, near the Ontario border, to do a bit of exploring. Early that morning, he found several rocks that seemed to be rich in quartz. He stopped in this spot and looked around. Suddenly, close to 12:30, he heard an odd humming sound. Looking up, he saw two oblong shapes with a dome on top, heading toward him. One of the objects slowly lowered to the ground, a few meters from the prospector, while the second one continued heading
Flying.
west. From up close, the ship
Flying.
looked more like a disc than a cigar, with a polished metal finish. Michalak observed and drew the object for just over half an hour.
That is a long time to stare at a UFO.
Yeah.
Wow, this is an unbelievable encounter. What do you think about this guy, Michalak, running across UFOs and land, and you get like a half hour to sit and he draws them.
Yeah, he was
You
drawing
hear-
it.
it was making a sound the whole time. It probably sounded like...
Oh God, that sound is giving me like the weirdest, not like headache, but like I've been having
Snap out
that
of
sound reverberate through my ears just about a few minutes ago. So please,
some kind of mantis interception going on here. But
maybe.
I want to bring up real quick. This also mentioned it happened in 1967. Okay, Mothman, Reed family. We've been putting a lot of stuff together that all happened in 1967. It seemed to be a very big year, and this is another one here. This guy's encounter, Michalak. And he's got one of the greatest outfits I've ever seen. He's got like this neck bandana and like he almost looks like the crocodile hunter. But I want to talk a little bit about Michalak. Michalak, he came from Poland. And he's described as a hardworking man who loved to do a little prospecting on the side. And he was not one to create fantastical tales. Now, his encounter gets even stranger, as we're going to hear now.
At first, Michalak thought he was looking at a prototype for an American military aircraft. Suddenly, a door opened on the side of the craft, like a lens opening on a camera. Then Michalak heard noises and what appeared to be voices.
When he heard these voices, he became braver and figured that perhaps these Americans needed some help. So he walked up and called to them, "Hey, Yankee boys, do you need some help? I'll give you a hand. I can fix your craft." But then the voices became silent, and it occurred to him perhaps these were not Americans. So being multilingual, he called out in Russian the same thing, but there is still no response.
Yeah, he thinks it's just Yankees or Russians. I love the recreation there, though. That is a superb retelling. Let's hear
So good.
soundboard 5, please.
"Hey, Yankee boys, do you need some help? I'll give you a hand. I can fix your craft."
He sounds like he's reading poetry. What the hell?
Oh, my God. It
It's
sounds
like it's a step up from, hey, come over here and check this out.
I was going to say.
Okay, Diane, that's fine. We're coming over.
Yeah,
that
that's
too.
Canadian, too. Look, Canadian Unsolved Mysteries is a whole other thing. You get not only Diane, we're coming over. Carol, you must be loving this.
"Hey, Yankee boys, do you need some help? I'll give you a hand. I can fix your craft."
And why does he think he can fix their craft anyway? I've been drawing this for a half hour. I figured the entire thing out. Just come on out.
It looks, come on, it looks like his car. He probably knows how to fix it. I don't know. But I think it's nice.
Hey, come here and check this out.
There we go. That's for you, Carol.
So he's not sure. Russian, American, he's not sure what this thing is, but Mr. Michalak does what any of us would do after drawing it for a good while, and we would do this.
He walked up to the side of the object, which was about 15 feet in height. He poked his head inside the doorway, and he could see an array of flashing lights, much like computers did in the 1960s and 70s. He didn't see anything more in terms of detail, but noticed that the sides, the walls, were very thick on this craft from the doorway.
He heard sounds. What these sounds were to this day, he won't say, because he doesn't know. It was the sound of whirring and the sound of clicking and the sound of ticking and talking and little noises.
Oh my
Nicking
God.
and bopping and booping, and there was some
He heard
beeping.
noises.
So
No, I
he
really-
sticks his head.
I'm
he
surprised
sticks his
he
head
wouldn't
inside the ship to check it out. What's that?
That's how you get that's how you get Travis Walton. I'm surprised that he was able to even get actually fully approach the thing, because that's what happened to Travis Walton. He got
Yeah, it was gross when he started talking about the thick walls. Like,
yeah,
what?
big thick kids.
Yeah.
thick ass
thick
walls.
walls.
Relax, dude.
Big, thick kids.
As fantastic as it is, he's been sitting staring at the thing for a half hour. He's probably getting bored. He's like, look, I really got to get back. It's getting dark. What am I going to do? I'll just stick my head in this thing. And then he likes to say,
Hey, Yankee boys, do you need some help? I'll give you a hand. I can fix your craft.
He just repeats it again. Maybe he's a Men in Black with how weird he's
all right,
talking.
enough. I got to stop. I catch myself. The story continues.
The door suddenly shut. The whole object began to rotate, and there was a grill, an array of holes right in front of him, out of which a blast of hot gas suddenly shot out, knocking him to the ground, setting his clothes on fire. The object rose into the air and flew away.
When the craft took off and he was hit in the chest with a blast of hot gases, he was in considerable pain. But more importantly, he was reacting to this burn.
Yeah, they say he started having an allergic reaction to this blast. This dude got blasted by the ship. He started peeking his head inside, trying to ask him if they're Yankee boys or whatever, and the ship just takes off and blasts him with gas.
Yeah, it's ironic. It's ironic that it literally lit his pants on fire. And I'm not going to call him a liar, but
All right,
his
I was
pants
gonna
are
say.
literally
Oh,
on
come
fire right
on.
now. Okay.
Damn it. Well, maybe they're just trying to
his
make him
fault.
look like a liar so that people won't believe him.
He's got these weird circular burn marks all over his chest. He gets really sick, and they even say in it that he smells like a hot engine mixed with ozone. So he avoids people because he thinks he might be contaminated. He decides not to go to the hospital in Manitoba and instead goes back to Winnipeg to see his doctor there. But his condition was really, really bad. Let's hear.
They treated him for burns, but they couldn't come up with, why is he sick? Why is he not responding? Why does he smell like this? Why does he act like this? They had no idea.
The physician treated him for the superficial injuries and sent him home, but then Michalek began getting very ill.
They have a lot of questions about this guy, as you can hear. I feel like people ask this about me all the time. Play Soundboard 6.
Why does he smell like this? Why does he act like this?
We don't know.
Well, the answer is because you're a chef or you're a cook or I don't know.
I
are you
don't
a
know.
chef?
No, I'm not. I think I'm stuck in this closet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can probably smell better than this guy.
We're just stuck in a closet for a year doing this show. People start asking you.
Why does he smell like this? Why does he act like this?
Yeah, why do you smell like mothballs, Russ? Because get out of that closet at some point. You have to.
Why
get
do
some
you
fresh
act
air.
like this? Why do you act like this?
Why do you act
Well,
like
his
this?
his health didn't improve, and his doctors are baffled. He then agrees finally to do an interview and go public with this fantastic story.
Dad had told the story a million times and was tired and said, "This is nuts." My mother especially really hated the media circus.
Mr. McKinnon, please, come on, just 1 or 2 questions, that's all.
So Dad wrote a book.
Oh, wow.
It was a little, I think, 30-page little softcover document. It was printed by a friend of the family kind of thing. And he says, look, to my mother, he says, when they come to the door and they want to hear the story again, hand them the book and get them out of here. And people said, oh, you wrote a book. Oh, you must have made money. Didn't make a dime. In fact, spent money. But what he wanted was peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, you
There's a
made a
lot
book.
of stuff that goes with that. This is actually a very famous case. I've read about this story many times. I think this was even on regular Unsolved Mysteries. I'll have to look into that. But now that he's out there, he hates it so much. He's being hounded by these old-timey 1960s reporters outside his house with big flashbulb cameras. It's the worst.